Genryusai Shigekuni Yamamoto, captain of the 1st Division, but also served as the captain commander of the entire Gotei Jewish for over 1,000 years. He is the strongest Soul Reaper of his time and is respected by everyone for his incredible strength, wisdom, and dedication to protecting the Soul Society. After being cast into hell, he gained the epithet of founder of the Gotei. Of course, in the context of Bleach, Yamamoto is the legendary badass old man like Netero from Hunter x Hunter. He has a strong sense of justice and he values order above all else. When it comes to strength and abilities, Yamamoto had reached the very pinnacle of martial might. His Zanpakuto is called Ryujin Jaka, which is by far the most powerful fire-type Zanpakuto in existence. In its Shikai form, Yamamoto can literally turn all creation to ash. It is like the sun itself. In its Bankai form, Zanka no Tachi, all of the flames generated by the Zanpakuto are absorbed into the blade, and the blade itself becomes a superheated weapon. The Bankai also has terrific abilities, such as summoning the ashes of those who were killed by its flames to fight for him. Genryusai Shigekuni Yamamoto led the Gotei Jewish until he was killed by Yuwahawk during the 1,000-year Blood War. Shunsui Kyoraku is the man who replaced Yamamoto as the new captain commander. He used to be the captain of the 8th Division until Yamamoto's death, and is one of the oldest and most experienced Soul Reapers. In terms of personality, he is a bit less serious and more chill in comparison to Yamamoto. He enjoys drinking and teasing others, but that just means that he is a laid-back and charming leader. Shunsui's strategic genius also shows in his Zanpakuto, Katen Kyokutsu. You see, Shunsui's Zanpakuto is a pair of swords that can manipulate reality through games. In its Shikai form, it creates a game where damage is dealt based on specific rules. For example, a move that forces both him and his opponent to share the damage equally. It is also said that this Zanpakuto has the ability to turn children's games into a reality. Shunsui's Bankai forces him and his opponent to act out the roles of a tragic play based on the story of double suicide of two lovers. Honestly, I would have loved to say that he is a fitting successor to Yamamoto, but if we're being real, Shunsui is just a chill guy. Yoruichi Shihoin was the captain of the 2nd Division before Suifang. She was also the previous commander-in-chief of the Onmitsukido. However, Yoruichi ended up abandoning her position when she left the Soul Society to help Kisuke Urahara and Tessai Tsukabishi escape after they were framed by Aizen. She is intelligent and independent, but also carefree like a cat. She often teases those around her, especially people like Ichigo and Suifang. Even though Yoruichi definitely has a Zanpakuto, she has never been shown using it, not even once. Instead, she uses a high-speed movement technique called Shunpo. She is known as the Flash Goddess because of her mastery of this technique. Her bloodline allows her to transform into a cat, which she often does for stealth, combat, and also to confuse others. Suifang is Yoruichi's protege who succeeded her as the captain of the 2nd Division, and also as the commander-in-chief of the Onmitsukido. She is a loyal, disciplined fellow who always remains firm and follows others, though she'll still mock you during a battle just like Yoruichi. And despite her tough and focused personality, she still has a vulnerable side that shows her inner struggles. Suifang's Zanpakuto is called Suzumebachi. It takes the form of a small blade attached to her finger like a stinger. In its Shikai form, it marks an opponent with a butterfly-shaped death mark when she strikes them. If she hits the same spot twice, the target dies immediately. Her Bankai, Jakuho Raikuben, is the opposite of her usual stealthy approach. It turns into a massive missile launcher that prioritizes raw destructive power over subtlety. Suifang is also a master of speed, hand-to-hand combat, and stealth. Jin Ichimaru is the most well-known captain of the 3rd Division during the main timeline of Bleach. He is a mysterious and sus guy who initially seems completely loyal to Aizen until he took everyone by surprise and betrayed Aizen. You see, Jin is sly, cunning, and hard to read. He often speaks with a mocking tone and keeps his true intentions hidden from everyone. While he appears manipulative and untrustworthy, his actions are secretly driven by a deep sense of justice and his love for Rangiku Matsumoto. He wants to protect Rangiku, and everything he does is part of his plan to stop Aizen. Jin's Zanpakuto is called Shinso. It has the unique ability to extend and retract at incredible speed, which makes it a deadly weapon in both close and long-range combat. His Bankai, Kamishini no Yari, is even more powerful. Jin claims it can extend over 13 kilometers and retract in just 0.08 seconds. It releases a deadly poison that destroys targets at a cellular level. Ultimately, Jin sacrifices himself to avenge Rangiku and stop Aizen. Rojuro Rose Otoribashi is the captain of the 3rd Division who was replaced by Jin. He was exiled along with all the other Soul Reapers who gained hollow powers and became Vizoreds. But following the fake Karakura town arc, he is reinstated as captain as all the Soul Reapers who became Vizoreds are reinstated into Soul Society. Now Rose is an artistic, flamboyant, and easygoing fellow. He has a deep love for music and culture, and his artistic nature extends to his fighting style. Rose's Zanpakuto is called Kinshara. It takes the form of a whip-like weapon. In its Shikai form, Kinshara extends into a flexible whip and uses sound-based attacks. With its sound waves, Rose can manipulate or attack enemies. The music and visuals disorient the target and leave them wide open to devastating attacks. He was defeated by Stern Reader S, masked the masculine, and then turned into a zombie by Stern Reader Z, Giselle Guel. However, Mayuri cured him of his zombification after the war, and since then, he has continued his role as the captain of the 3rd Division. Retsu Unohana was the most well-known captain of the 4th Division during the main timeline. She was Soul Society's most skilled healer and one of the founding members of the Gotei 13. She is also revealed to be the first Kenpachi. Kenpachi is a title given only to the strongest Soul Reaper. She was the most feared combatant of her time, and she first served as the captain of the 11th Division until the 2nd Kenpachi succeeded her. Ultimately, she changed as a person and became the captain of the 4th Division. Though some fans think that her name was always Retsu, she simply went by the name Yachiru back then because it was kinda badass. Now, unlike her ruthless and bloodthirsty self, she became a calm and gentle healer. As for her abilities, Unohana's Zanpakuto is called Minazuki. It transforms her blade into a blood-like substance that can dissolve flesh and bone. The visual imagery shows a nice contrast between her past as a warrior and her present as a healer. In its Shikai form, Minazuki transforms into a giant mana ray-like creature that can carry injured allies inside its body to heal them. All in all, Unohana is a legendary character through and through, and she left a legacy by forcing Zaraki to unlock his true strength. When she met her end thanks to Zaraki's blade, he surpassed her and fully embraced his title of Kenpachi. Isane Kotetsu succeeded Unohana as the captain of the 4th Division after her death. She was the lieutenant of the 4th Division under Unohana. She is kind, shy, and even gets nervous from time to time, but she seeks to live to the high standards set by Unohana. She is highly skilled in Kaido, the art of healing. Sosuke Aizen was the captain of the 5th Division until he came out with what he has been up to. He is by far the most infamous captain of any division ever. He appears to be a kind and gentle leader, but then turns out to be a manipulative mastermind with grand ambitions. Aizen betrays the Soul Society and reveals his aim to overthrow and replace the Soul King himself. Aizen is calm, intelligent, and very charismatic. However, behind it all, he is cold, ruthless, and calculating. He does not care about sacrificing others if it helps him achieve his goals because he sees himself as superior to everyone else. He also makes sure to tell you that he planned your birth. Naturally, Aizen's Zanpakuto, Kyoka Suigetsu, perfectly complements his personality. Its Shikai ability creates perfect illusions by controlling all 5 senses of anyone who sees it being activated. It does have a requirement though. For the ability to take effect, Aizen must first show his blade to the target during its activation. His Bankai is never revealed. Aizen also has immense spiritual pressure. His aura is insane. After merging with Hogyoku, Aizen evolves and becomes immortal. Of course, he was imprisoned for all his crimes. And while he did help out in the war, he was imprisoned again, and his next hearing is in about 20,000 years. Shinji Hiraku was the captain of the 5th Division before Aizen. He was then reinstated as captain. Just like Rose, he was exiled after he turned into a Vizzored. But after Aizen's defeat, Shinji is welcomed back and reinstated as the captain of the 5th Division. Shinji is laid back, sarcastic, and often playful. He is a fun and chill guy. He has a strong sense of justice and is deeply loyal to his friends and allies. Shinji's Zanpakuto is called Sakanade, and it has one of the most unique abilities in the series. In its Shikai form, Sakanade reverses the senses of Shinji's opponents. Up feels like down, and left feels like right. His Bankai is not revealed in the series, but as a Vizzored, Shinji can also use a hollow mask to increase his speed, strength, and spiritual power. Byakuya Kuchiki is the captain of the 6th Division and the 28th head of the Noble Kuchiki clan. Now, Byakuya is stoic, disciplined, and values tradition above all else. He often appears cold and distant, but then again, he also deeply cares for his loved ones, especially his adopted sister, Rukia Kuchiki. Of course, he was at odds with our boy Ichigo at first because of his loyalty to the laws of Soul Society, but his clashes with Ichigo helped him understand the importance of protecting what matters, even if it means bending the rules a little. Byakuya's Zanpakuto Senbonzakura is brilliant and powerful. In its Shikai form, Senbonzakura's blade scatters into thousands of tiny petal-like fragments, which Byakuya can control to attack or defend. His Bankai, Senbonzakura Kageyoshi, takes this power to another level. Byakuya summons massive rows of swords that scatter into countless petals, which in turn creates a storm of deadly fragments. He can use advanced techniques like Gotei, which traps the enemy in a sphere of petals. Byakuya is also a master of Shunpo just like Yoruichi, which puts him among the fastest captains in the Gotei Juich. Love Aikawa was the captain of the 7th Division. He was also exiled after he became a Vizzored, but following Aizen's defeat, he was reinstated as the captain of the 7th Division. Love is laid back, friendly, and easygoing. He enjoys reading manga and likes to lighten everyone's mood. Love's Zanpakuto is called Tengumaru. In its Shikai form, Tengumaru transforms into a large spiked club, but since he is a Vizzored, he can also wear a hollow mask. Sajin Komamura becomes the next captain of the 7th Division after Love is discharged. He is a loyal and honorable Soul Reaper who strongly believes in justice and duty, and he is unique among the captains because unlike others who look like humans, he has the appearance of a humanoid wolf. He feels a strong sense of gratitude towards Yamamoto, who accepted him into the Gotei Juich despite his appearance. He is also very loyal to his friends, especially his lieutenant, Tetsuzaemon Iba. Komamura's Zanpakuto is called Kokujo Tengen Myo. In its Shikai form, it summons a massive armored spirit that mirrors Komamura's movements. His Bankai, Kokujo Tengen Myo o Dangaijo, removes the armor from the massive armored spirit, which greatly increases its power but also leaves it more vulnerable. When using this form, Komamura can sacrifice his physical body and gain temporary immortality by fully embracing his wolf heritage. This is a one-time thing. After using his Bankai's final form, Komamura lost his humanoid appearance and became a wolf permanently. This also significantly reduced his strength, and he stepped down as captain as a result. Tetsuzaemon Iba becomes the captain of the 7th Division after Sajin Komamura steps down. The name and abilities of Iba's Zanpakuto are not revealed in the story, but he is proficient in both swordsmanship and hakuda. Overall, he has played a minor role in the main story, but he carries on the will of Sajin Komamura, which is what matters the most. Lisa Yadumaru succeeds Shunsui Kyoraku as the captain of the 8th Division. She was also exiled from the Soul Society after becoming a Vizzored, but she returns to her position after Aizen's defeat. Lisa is calm, serious, and collected. She often speaks her mind and gets straight to the point. Lisa's Zanpakuto is called Haguru Tonbo. In its Shikai form, it transforms into a melee weapon that resembles a glaive or spear. But as yet another Vizzored, she can also use a hollow mask to increase her strength, speed, and spiritual power. Kaname Tosen is the captain of the 9th Division until he betrays the Soul Society as part of Aizen's faction. He was left disillusioned with the Soul Society's justice system after his closest friend was killed, and so he believed that Aizen's vision of creating a new world was better than the current order. Tosen is calm. He values justice above all else, but his belief in achieving justice at any cost leads him down a dark path. This contradiction between his noble ideals and the morally questionable actions he takes to achieve them is what defines his character. Tosen's Zanpakuto, Suzumushi, is a unique weapon. In its Shikai form, Suzumushi emits high-pitched sound waves that incapacitate enemies by overwhelming their senses. His Bankai, Suzumishi Shuichiki Enma Korogi, takes this ability to the next level by creating a large black dome that robs everyone inside except Tosen of all 5 senses. This leaves his opponents completely vulnerable. Of course, after aligning with Aizen, Tosen also gains hollow powers. He even transforms into a monstrous hollow form during his final battle and achieves a fusion of hollow soul nature. Kensei Muguruma was the captain of the 9th division, and he was also exiled after becoming a Vizourid. But just like the others, he was reinstated after Aizen's defeat. Kensei has a serious, disciplined, and no-nonsense personality. His straightforward and focused attitude makes him a strong presence. Kensei's Zanpakuto, Tachikaze, is a powerful weapon suited to his close-range combat style. In its Shikai form, it transforms into a combat knife and produces wind-based attacks. His Bankai, Tekken Tachikaze, amplifies this power by surrounding his fists with explosive energy. As a Vizourid, Kensei can also wear a hollow mask. Ichigo's father, Ishin Kurosaki, was once the captain of the 10th division. He used to be Ishin Shiba and was also the head of a branch of the Shiba clan. He fell in love with Masaki, a Quincy, and left the Soul Society to keep her safe and to help her with the matter of her hollowification. Back then, he gave up his Soul Reaper powers by using a special Gigai created by Unohana to stabilize Masaki's hollowification. Ishin then chose to live as a human on Earth and built a family with Masaki. He shows a laid-back, goofy persona and keeps his sharp intellect and strength. As for Ishin's Zanpakuto, it's Engetsu, a fire-based weapon similar to Ichigo's Zangetsu. In its Shikai form, Engetsu becomes engulfed in flames. One of its abilities is a blood flame attack, where Ishin spits his own blood onto the blade to unleash a massive surge of fire. Ishin can also use Getsuga Tensho, a powerful energy slash. Although his Bankai is never revealed, it must also be very impressive. Toshiro Hitsugaya is the captain of the 10th division and the youngest captain in history. That's right, he is the youngest captain in the history of Gotei Juich, but that also makes him the most promising because he is a prodigy with extraordinary potential. And despite his age, Hitsugaya is a mature, serious, and disciplined fellow. He is deeply dedicated to his duties as a captain and always strives to protect those under his care. Although he is strict and focused, he has a softer side, particularly towards his childhood friend Momo Hinamori and his division members. His dynamic with his lieutenant Rangiku Matsumoto, on the other hand, is always fun to watch. Now, Hitsugaya's Zanpakuto Kyorinmaru is the most powerful ice-based Zanpakuto in the Soul Society. In its Shikai form, it allows him to control and manipulate ice and water. He can unleash large-scale attacks, such as summoning an ice dragon to strike his enemies. Hitsugaya's Bankai, Daiguren Kyorinmaru, takes it even further by enveloping him in ice armor and granting him ice wings. This form significantly increases his strength and allows him to create massive ice structures and also to freeze entire areas. In the beginning, his Bankai is limited by his lack of experience, and overusing it quickly drains his energy. But during the 1000-year Blood War arc, Hitsugaya's Bankai evolves into its fully matured state. In this form, he takes on the appearance of an adult, and his abilities become far more powerful. Hitsugaya's immense spiritual power rivals other captains, and he is also a tactical genius with a crazy battle IQ. Kenpachi Zaraki is the captain of the 11th Division and the 11th Kenpachi in Soul Society. He became the captain by defeating and killing the previous captain of the 11th Division, which is, of course, the tradition for earning the title of Kenpachi. Zaraki is wild, fearless, and lives for the thrill of battle. He constantly looks for strong opponents and loves fighting, even if it pushes him to the edge of death. While he is violent and reckless, Zaraki has a sense of honor and only respects those who fight with strength and courage. He also cares deeply for his subordinates, especially Yachiru Kusajishi. Zaraki's Zanpakuto is called Nozarashi, and it matches his raw power. In its Shikai form, Nozarashi turns into a giant cleaver-like weapon that can cut through almost anything. Its destructive power is immense, and shows how overwhelmingly strong Zaraki is. When using his Bankai, Bankai, Zaraki transforms into a berserk, demon-like version of himself, which greatly increases his strength and destructive power. It also reflects his character's core theme of unrestrained strength and chaos, because in this form, he fights purely on instinct and loses control. Zaraki is also incredibly strong and durable. He can take massive amounts of damage and keep fighting, and his physical strength allows him to destroy nearly anything in his way. Even though his fighting style seems chaotic and reckless, Zaraki is a natural combat genius considering how he instinctively understands his opponent's techniques and adapts to them. Ultimately, his duel with Unohana is his defining important, as it helps him remember his true power and also pushes him to fully awaken his Zanpakuto and unlock his Bankai. Kisuke Urahara took over as the captain of the 12th Division after Kiryo Hikifune was promoted to Squad 0. Of course, Urahara is among the most memorable characters, not just in Bleach, but in anime as a whole. He is famous for his intelligence, creativity, and also for his relaxed personality. During his time as captain, Urahara founded the Soul Society Research and Development Institute and turned the 12th Division into a center for scientific advancement, though he gets framed by Aizen and ends up getting exiled into the human world. Now, Urahara is a genius scientist and strategist, who is always 2, if not 3 steps ahead. He rarely shows his true emotions and hides them behind his humor and laid-back personality, but his actions reveal that he is more than just a chill guy. In terms of abilities, Urahara's Zanpakuto is called Benehime, and it is among the most versatile weapons in the series. In its Shikai form, Benehime can create powerful energy blasts, barriers, and other techniques, which makes it adaptable to almost any situation. Urahara's Bankai Kanon Biraki Benehime Aratame allows him to restructure and modify anything it touches, including his own body, his surroundings, or even his enemies. During his first fight against Askin Naklevar in the 1000-Year Blood War arc, Urahara uses this ability not only to heal his own injuries, but also to create new openings in Askin's domain. That's right, his Bankai is incredibly broken and versatile as it can be used for both combat and healing purposes. But that's also a testament to his genius because he can use such a versatile Bankai so effectively. In addition to his Zanpakuto, Urahara's intelligence and creativity is what truly makes him so formidable. Aizen also personally stated that the only one smarter than him in the Soul Society is Kisuke Urahara. Overall, Urahara is the GOAT. Mayuri Kurotsuchi is the current captain of the 12th Division and the head of the SRDI. He is kind of eccentric and morally ambiguous because of his complete lack of ethical boundaries when it comes to his experiments. He often treats other people as nothing more than test subjects or tools for his experiments. He is fiercely loyal to the Soul Society and will do whatever it takes to protect it. Mayuri's Zanpakuto is called Ashizoki Jizo. In its Shikai form, it becomes a trident-like blade that releases a special poison. This poison paralyzes opponents by severing the connection between their brain and body, and leaves them helpless. His Bankai, Konjiki Ashisogi Jizo, summons a giant, grotesque caterpillar-like creature that emits a deadly poison. Mayuri frequently modifies and upgrades his Bankai to suit specific situations, which makes it an ever-evolving weapon. Overall, he is the mad scientist type. Jushiro Ukitake was the captain of the 13th Division. He was among the oldest and most respected captains in the Gotei Juich. Despite suffering from a chronic illness for most of his life, Ukitake remained a strong leader and a source of comfort and guidance within the Soul Society. Both fellow captains and his subordinates admired and looked up to him. Ukitake's Zanpakuto, Sogyo no Kotowari, is a unique weapon that takes the form of 2 blades connected by a cord. In its Shikai form, it can absorb and redirect energy-based attacks, which makes it a powerful tool for defense and counterattacks. Something important about Ukitake is that Mimihagi, the right arm of the Soul King, had been inside his body for most of his life. Mimihagi is also what kept him alive by replacing his lungs. Now, Ukitake was also a skilled tactician and often acted as a voice of reason among the captains. In the end, he sacrificed himself to replace the Soul King and restabilize the Soul Society. Byakuya Kuchiki succeeded Jushiro Ukitake as the captain of the 13th Division. Over the course of the series, she evolves from a struggling and self-doubting Soul Reaper into a confident and capable leader who embodies the values and spirit of the 13th Division. Now, Rukia has always been strong-willed and deeply loyal to her friends and comrades. She works tirelessly to improve herself and strives to protect those she cares about, which makes sense because her relationship with Ukitake, who acted as both a mentor and father figure, played quite a role in shaping her approach to leadership. If we're talking about her abilities, then Rukia's Zanpakuto, Sode no Shirayuki, is an ice-based weapon, which is said to be the most beautiful Zanpakuto in the Soul Society. In its Shikai form, it allows her to perform elegant but deadly ice techniques. Some no Mai Tsukishiro freezes a circular area, while San no Mai Shirafune creates an ice blade for precise attacks. Her Bankai, Haka no Togame, is an extraordinarily powerful ability that can freeze everything around her to absolute zero, including herself, which is why it does require precise control for her to avoid harming herself or her allies. Overall, as the captain of the 13th Division, Rukia keeps up the division's reputation for compassion and justice. She is no longer the same girl who used to doubt herself.